1922, Andreas Gruber found a trail of footprints in the snow leading directly into his family's farmhouse, but he never found the footprints leading back out. The Gruber family lived on a remote farmstead called Hinterkaifeck in the Bavarian countryside of Germany. The household consisted of an elderly couple, Andreas and Kazilia, their widowed daughter Victoria, her 2 children, and a new maid. The suspense builds days. Before the tragedy, Andreas Gruber began telling neighbors about strange occurrences that he couldn't explain. He found tracks in the fresh snow leading from the edge of the forest directly to the farm's machine house, but there were no tracks leading back out. The family also reported hearing heavy footsteps and scratching coming from the attic, yet when Andreas searched the house, he found no one. A set of house keys vanished, and someone had attempted to tamper with the lock on the tool shed. Andreas found an unfamiliar newspaper on the porch. No one in the family or the village subscribed to it. Even more unsettling, the previous maid had quit 6 months earlier, claiming the house was haunted because she constantly felt she was being watched by an unseen presence. On March 31st, 1922, the silence at Hinterkaifeck became permanent. It wasn't until several days later, when the townspeople grew suspicious because the family had missed church and the mail was piling up, that they went to investigate. They found a scene of calculated brutality. 4 victims were stacked in the barn, covered in hay. The young maid and the youngest child were found inside the house. The most terrifying detail of the investigation wasn't the murders themselves, but what happened after them. The autopsy revealed that the family had been killed on Friday night. However, when neighbors looked at the farm over the weekend, they saw smoke rising from the chimney. The cattle had been fed, the cows had been milked, and someone had eaten meals in the kitchen. The killer had lived in the house with the bodies for 3 full days. Why it remains a mystery. Despite interviewing over 100 suspects, the police never found the killer. To this day, it is debated whether the haunting noises Andreas heard were actually the killer living in the attic for days before the attack, watching the family through the floorboards. The most terrifying part isn't that the killer was never caught, but that for 3 days after the murders, the neighbors saw smoke from the chimney, meaning while the family lay in the barn, someone was inside, eating their food and sleeping in their beds. The brutal slaying of an entire family and their maid, with signs the killer stayed in the house afterwards. Get ready for a deep dive into the disturbing Hinterkaifeck murders, a true crime riddle that remains unsolved. Subscribe for more deep dives into history's darkest mysteries in the upcoming videos.